Welcome to Dr. Summary. Today we will discuss and understand a very famous novel so-called Beloved by Nobel laureate novelist Toni Morrison. Beloved is a novel written by American novelist and essayist Toni Morrison. Beloved was written in early 1980s and was later published in 1987. Its genre is historical fiction. Its setting is in Ohio, and its point of view is third-person omniscient. These were the key facts of the novel, and now let's proceed with our story ahead. This story begins in 1873, and American Civil War has just ended few years ago. So the story begins with Sethe, who lives with her daughter Denver in a house named 124. Let me tell you friends that 124 is a haunted house. The black community which lives in this rural area of Cincinnati believes that this house is a haunted house, and in this house somebody's ghost resides. But Sethe and Denver are residing here for 18 years. And this Sethe and Denver are kicked out of their community because Sethe's past was not good. She was a slave 18 years ago. She was a slave in a house in her past. The house where she was a slave, in that house there was a person who was known as school teacher. So the school teacher and his brother used to trouble Sethe. So Sethe planned to run away from that house with her husband. But her husband vanished away from there, and this Sethe ran away alone. Sethe was also pregnant at that time. Although she had 3 children then, and she gave birth to another girl, not in hospital but on roads. A woman named Amy Denver helped her for her delivery. She gave birth to a daughter, and she kept her name Denver in respect of the woman who helped her. Now her husband has ran somewhere, and this Sethe came with her 4 children to Cincinnati. While in Cincinnati, she was quite free for 28 days. But one day, the school teacher and his brother caught Sethe on road. While she was caught, she killed one of her child and used to threaten other 3. She wanted to kill all her children because she didn't want them to be slaves as she was. As the school teacher came to know that this Sethe has killed one of her children, he thought that this Sethe has gone mad, and he made a decision to not take Sethe back to his home. After that, Sethe started residing with all her 3 children and mother-in-law, known as Baby Suggs, at this 124 house. As the story proceeds, a ghost used to roam around this house. It was the ghost of Sethe's child, which was killed by Sethe herself. From the fear of the ghost, Sethe's 2 sons, Howard and Bugler, ran away from the house, and later Baby Suggs also died. So as of now, Sethe used to stay with her 1 children, Denver, at this house 124. To make out life, Sethe works as a cook and Denver stays at home all day. Denver is now of 18 years but still fears to stay alone at home. So this is the story of Sethe's past. Now let's come at the present. So now it's year 1873, and this Sethe and her daughter are living together. The Civil War has ended 5 or 7 years ago. One fine day, a man comes in this house named Paul D. Paul D was also a slave in the same house where Sethe was a slave too. And this Paul D's past is also not good like Sethe. As Civil War was ended, Paul D is also free as of now. But this Paul D has faced a lot of struggles and hardships when he was a slave. As the story proceeds, Paul D used to stay in the same house with Sethe and Denver. While staying, this Paul D used to flirt with Sethe. While the story proceeds ahead, one fine day a girl comes to 124 house. This girl's name is Beloved. This girl, Beloved, doesn't reveal her identity to anybody. She just gave her identity by revealing her name. This girl is the ghost of the dead girl which was killed by Sethe and now has come again after 18 years. She has now wore strange types of clothes. But the question is, why has she came back after 18 years? You will get answer to this at the end. Since Beloved came to the house, she became a good friend of Denver. Now these 2 girls, Beloved and Denver, used to hate Paul D, as he used to flirt with Sethe. Paul D was now Sethe's lover. This Beloved used to hate Paul D a lot. There are many instances where Beloved tried to separate Sethe from Paul D. Friends, let me also tell you that this Beloved used to ask questions to Sethe about her past. Beloved wanted to know about the past of Sethe. Now as story proceeds, one day comes when Paul D left the house on his own. Why did Paul D left the house? Because Paul D came to know from a close friend that Sethi has killed her own child in the past. This was the reason because of which Paul D left the house. Later, Sethi also comes to understand that this beloved is the ghost of a child who died 18 years back. So one fine day, Sethi regrets and asks apologies to beloved that she has done a mistake in her past. But this beloved doesn't forgive Sethi, and later beloved stays in the same house with Sethi and Denver. As beloved stays in this house, she becomes more powerful, and Sethi turns weak. Like for instance, Sethi has to follow all the orders and does the same as said by beloved. Beloved demands a lot of things from Sethi. Later, Sethi gets mentally disturbed and irritated, and everyone comes to know about this condition of Sethi. So one day a community of black people come one fine day to run away the ghost of beloved from Sethi's house. When all the black people come at Sethi's house, the ghost of beloved runs away, but Sethi was now totally broken from inside, and she turned mentally ill also. But then Paul D comes back to Sethi and he promised Sethi that he will help Sethi in present as well as in future. And after that, Paul D, Sethi and Denver started to live their new life again. And like this, the story comes to an end.